You know what I just realized? I realized that we're on a new day and I have I can't do the happy Friday.
You can't. It's not
And
a happy Friday.
I didn't
It might
plan
be a happy
ahead
Friday.
to have an intro.
You could
Eventually.
do like a happy Wednesday.
Could do like a
Wednesday.
Wednesday. You know?
No.
Also an option.
Also,
we'll take it under
as they both
consideration.
join us.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We've made it to
Happy
the middle of the
Wednesday.
week. And with us today, we have X, the Everything Apps foremost AI influencer, Aaron Francis, with us on the show today.
Hello, my friends.
How you doing,
Thank
Aaron?
you for having me. Excited to be here to talk about
Whatever
anything
we
and
want.
everything. Apparently, is the honeymoon over? Which I don't know what this topic is
Yes.
about. But
Oh,
I'm
man, I
happy to
can't
answer the
wait.
question. Yeah.
I can't wait to dig into that.
The nice part is
because-
you put in a really we always have to put in like that obscure title, and then you just imagine if Will does it, then it's my job to figure out, okay, what do we actually talk about? If Will does
What
it,
does that
if I
even
do it,
mean?
then it's the inverse kind of thing.
Yes, we don't
We've had-
plan at all. Similar to you and Ian on Mostly Technical, there is about zero planning that goes into every episode other than, hey, we want to talk about some stuff. We'll just
Well,
get
at
on
some
there and
point,
start
Ian and
talking.
I will have a great product called Outro that we'll be able to use to plan
I'm
our
pumped for that,
podcast.
too.
But, that's
Oh,
coming in
man.
2028, I think. So we'll see.
And we've had Ian
according
on,
to this week,
and we've
he's
had
going to
Ian
have
on
it
the
ready
Riff-
before EU.
Yeah,
Um,
and we've had Ian on the Riff and Refine show, so now we've got the full Mostly Technical. Now we've mostly riffed on the Riff and Refine
You've
show.
completed the set. You got us
Completed the
both.
set. We just need
The
producer
next
Dave
time,
now.
we're just going to have everybody. It's going to be a full 4-person show.
Oh, that would
Yeah.
be a blast.
All right.
Has producer Dave been on a Mostly Technical podcast episode?
That is a good question. I think he might have come on once to talk about rap music.
Okay.
I may be making that up. I don't know. I don't remember.
With some of the tweets I've seen recently where Ian has been very upset with your lack of musical endeavors, he might have to come on again.
Ian's always upset with my lack of some sort of pop culture knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's nothing new.
It is
like
always
Michael-
surprising to
Michael
me
Jordan,
how
who's
strongly
that?
he feels about it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Sorry. The answer is no. I don't even know what that is.
It's a
We
video
changed
game,
from
I'm pretty
Friday. We changed from Friday because it is no longer tenable for the King family to do it at the end of a day on Friday, because my wife teaches 25-year-olds every day of the week.
20 space 5-year-olds, correct?
25-year-olds, 20 comma 5-year-olds. And I needed to not show up late every time to pick her up because nobody wants to keep staying at school on a Friday. And that was a fair ask. So I asked Josh if we could switch it. And so now we're a Wednesday show every Wednesday. And it just happened to be conveniently timed with when another very popular live show switched to the exact same day and time. So,
And they're going live. I believe they were probably recording around that same time, but now they're going live with it. So
yes.
we'll relinquish.
Anyway, we're here today with Aaron Francis. Aaron, you've listened to the show for long enough. We're not going to give you the guest treatment. So we're going to start off with you. What have you been up to the last week? Because word on the street is a lot.
A lot. Yeah, I have past couple of weeks been going pretty hard on 2 separate things, which maybe wasn't a good idea. But
it's like you've learned your lesson, right?
I will learn no lessons and I will do it again next time. So I have a desktop app that I have been working on called Solo. And it started out as one thing, and then quickly I have expanded the scope to meet the market requests, which I think was
traction.
Yes, I think was smart, but also stressful. And then simultaneously recording a bunch of videos about working with AI, building out a full, video platform to host all of that and, do the Stripe integrations and all that stuff. So been been burning the candle at all ends, but we made it mostly. There's still a lot of cleanup to do, but we mostly made it.
Nice. Okay, I actually have a question before we get to what you did last week, Josh. This was one question I had around launching faster.dev, which
Okay.
is officially live and
It is
available.
officially live. It is
And I
a little
cannot
bit little bit undercover, but it's officially live. Hey, sound
Oh wait, when
effect.
did we get that?
I realized that I had it. I've had it all this time, but yesterday in the live stream with Laravel, I was like, oh, I have them, and now I know which button is which. So we're
That
good.
was awesome. Note to self: we need to riff on some more fun bits with noise. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
My question I had was how did the course platform hold up to launching like the new course? Because this is like completely different domain, completely different category of product. Did
Completely different
all
course
of the
platform.
architecture that y'all
That's what I was
spent-
curious about is how
Build a
much of it
completely
has
different
been.
platform. So we've got like screencasting.com, which is its own, like, that was the multi-tenant platform.
Mhm.
And it was screencasting.com, high performance SQLite, and mastering Postgres, and the Rails course that I did with my friend Steven.
Mhm.
That was all on one platform. Then Database School, I moved it to a standalone platform because, you know, I brought those database courses over and kind of like killed off the idea that
Mhm.
every series or every course
Right.
is going to get its own domain. And so I just brought that over there. Then faster.dev is its own platform as well. Much of it, like the good news is much of it I just pointed Codex and Claude at and was like, hey, we do this over there, like
Yeah.
pull it over here as well. But there's a lot of different stuff on Faster, like the project
Mhm.
logs and the feeds and the skills
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's completely separate. So now I'm, you know, fully running three different video platforms, unfortunately.
Seems like the most reasonable option. You know, like
Actually,
keeping all in one.
4, because accounting, I still have an accounting.
You still have your accounting one, yeah.
I still have my accounting courses, and they run on like, it's like Laravel 5 or 6 or something. So I need to.
Do you ever see a transaction?
I was
ever show
wondering
up?
how much that
I
might
have
make you.
I have turned off payments over there
Okay.
Now it's
because
just if you have an account, you can still view it.
it's actually just open to the world because it's on Heroku, surprisingly.
For
I
now.
can't update it. I just can't update it because it's on like
Right.
the Cedar stack, which is out of date. And they're like, oh, if you want to update it, you have to move to the whatever stack. And I'm like,
Right.
I haven't done that. And then it used to use Facebook login, but I haven't like agreed to new terms and have to update the app to do that. And so it's just like, well, I'll just go into the database and make all the videos free so I
Yeah,
can keep the
yeah.
traction on the campuses. And then at some point I'll, you know, now I can just have Claude like migrate it. But yeah, so that's definitely still alive. And I still get emails from students that are like,
That's
oh,
wild.
your accounting course saved me. I was failing and now I passed. Thank you so much. And Kelsey will screenshot it and send it to me. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of
There you
wild.
go.
Man,
So how much are you
we all had
bleeding from hosting that then?
Oh, it's not very much. It's like,
Okay.
you
That's
know,
good then.
$30 a month on Heroku or something.
For changing people's lives. That's the
Yeah, and I'll you know, at some point I'll bring it back with payments and everything. I think it probably made like $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 a semester, so like $20,000 a year, which is better than a poke in the eye. So I should probably get that going again.
Goodness
There you
gracious,
go.
Aaron. Man,
I know, students,
I
they
can
don't like
see
accounting.
why you got into the course game early, man. That was like a straight hit right to the blood,
yeah.
blood vessels immediately.
In its lifetime, it's done over $100,000 in teaching college students how to do financial accounting.
And college students, as we all know, have the most money. So you're doing something right.
It is a one-shot product. These students presumably never take the course again. They pay $39 one time, and then they're not in my market at all ever again. And it still works. So it's like pick all of the worst things you could do when building a business, like Target broke people who only ever pay once and would never pay again. And I did it, and it worked.
did it.
So
I think the key ingredient you have there is desperation. You
yes.
found a desperate market.
And I did a market that rolls over, right?
Yeah.
So like the juniors tell the sophomores, and that is how it works
That is
every
incredibly
single year. Sophomores take it, they move up, and then they tell their friends.
Before we continue, Nuno, thank you so much for raiding the chat. So Nuno raid, everyone. Thank you so much for Nuno's team being here from Twitch. Not as high energy as Nuno, but hopefully just as exciting with what Aaron's got to talk to us about today.
Can anybody be as exciting as Nuno? I'm not sure.
I don't know. We said on the live stream yesterday, like the only way to have that kind of energy is maybe you have not kids, and we have a collective of a lot of kids on the stream right
I think that's right. I'll catch Nuno's streams sometimes, and he's like shouting and yelling W chat, and then it's like, oh man, nothing I'm doing is that exciting to me. Where I'm like, oh, chat, can you believe this? I'm like, hey, yeah, that kind of works.
Well, Peak and Flow says Solo is amazing.
Hey, that's great to hear because.
He's in B1.
I think it's terrible right now, and the fact that people actually like it in its current state means I think I'm on to something. So
I'll do some air horns for that.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Peak and Flow.
Nice.
All right,
Josh. What have you been up to last week?
Oh man, last week.
And by last week I mean since Friday, because we just talked.
Yeah, I know. It seems like it was just like so. My wife's 30th birthday was last Monday. Which meant because her birthday falls around Valentine's Day, as you might know, Mr. Aaron Francis, it's a tough time to coordinate parties and things like that. Sure. Everyone's busy. So, and Valentine's Day was on a Friday, which means there's no way anyone's doing anything Friday or Saturday or even Sunday. And so we had a bunch of friends over. I threw her, she doesn't like surprise parties, but I threw her a party where she didn't know what was happening or who was going there, but she knew there was a party happening on Saturday. Okay. And so we had a bunch of friends over, bounce house for the kids. I did like a we watch a lot of those reality cooking shows where like it's competition. And so I did a competition with all of our friends and their kids and being like, hey, here's 3 cupcakes and a bunch of random ingredients. Make a dessert that looks really good and tastes as good as you want it to. And it was a fun time. So we did that on Saturday. Then my kids got sick. And so from Friday until today, I feel like I've been playing catch up with like helping them, trying not to get sick myself, and then just staying on top of all the other things that I need to stay on top of. But yeah, I think I had some breakthroughs and like some personal projects that I've been working on. There's like 2 that I've been really excited about that are very AI focused. And then I finally I'm like an AI product. It is essentially like what I am building is essentially if GitHub didn't exist and it instead existed within your like the hooks of your AI code. And so like I'm calling it
just making sure that changes were persisted in a way that is undoable and trackable.
Yeah, the thought process behind it is like I've been teaching people out like offline. I have been teaching people to build things, like at my church or just friends who are like, hey, I have like this idea, and they don't know anything what GitHub is, but every single thing that you have to do to like host something or if you make a mistake, usually you probably have to learn what GitHub is. And so my thought process is, what if you didn't need to know that and it just existed? So that is what my brain has been on in the last 3 days. Ooh, what about you, Will?
I like that. So for 3 days, I have done surprisingly little, personally, but a lot professionally. Our Snowflake Postgres has officially launched to GA.
Exciting.
So we got acquired in July of last year, and in that short time period since getting acquired, we have built our entire database product into Snowflake and launched to GA. And it has been like a mad sprint to get here, and I'm so thankful that we did it and that it is launched, and I'm not sprinting anymore to a GA finish line. Wait, was this the meeting you had to get?
Sorry, Ali.
Yeah, this was the meeting I had to get back to. But I still dropped you off lunch and picked up the sick kid, so it's all good.
And
No worries.
to be fair, Alia, we spent like the first 10 minutes talking about how Will is such a great husband and father that we need to move the entire show.
Oh yeah,
to make
Right.
him a better husband and father. So
Exactly. Let's definitely remember that part. But yeah, so Snowflake is Postgres has gone GA. It was a lot. I had to learn like a completely new language to be able to do my part of shipping it. Their like stack is written in Go, and so I had to learn Go from scratch. Shout out to AI for actually getting good right around the time that I needed to learn a completely new language, because I don't know how much of it, or at least it definitely would have still happened, but I would have been way more stressed doing it if it had not been for the help of AI. That is for sure. But yeah, other than that, just lately I've been having a lot of not to steal branding from mostly technical, but I've been having quite a few sweet hangs lately.
Love a sweet hang.
Where just like some friends have been like, hey, I'm thinking about this thing. What do you think about it? And instead of like texting, I'm just like, what are you doing right now? Do you want to just jump on a video call and we'll just hang out and we'll chat? It has been so great. I had two buddies. So one of them's like thinking, like trying to figure out like, should I quit my job? It's taking care of like my family. But I think I could be doing stuff that feels like more fulfilling and still also be able to like achieve the same thing, but it's scary. And so we just jumped on a call and talked about that. And then the other one was with his name's Josh, but you probably know him on X as the sound design guy. He was like, hey, that music DAW that you are building from scratch is dope. Do you want to just hang out and chat? And I'm like, yes, please. I don't know anywhere near as much about making music as you do. Let's just hang out. And you can tell me all the stuff that I don't know. So that was like a super fun hangout, getting to meet him and chat. So not as much like coding and doing a bunch of stuff, but a lot of fun hangouts. So that's honestly what I'd rather. Like if all the projects that I do just lead to like hanging out with people and getting to know more cool people, then like the projects have succeeded in my mind.
That's the whole reason for starting a podcast, right? Like that's like no one starts a podcast.
It's just an excuse to hang out with people. Hey. Absolutely. All right. Is the honeymoon over?
Is it?
I know you've been sitting on pins and needles wondering what that means, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer, so keep going. I'll answer once I have more context.
This is the context for the question. So you, the end of 2025, kind of after I wouldn't say you're an AI hater. I don't think you were ever a hater per se, but you are not
a skeptic.
Hype on AI, like
Correct.
Somebody who is hyping it up. You are, as always, a reasonableist.
Thank you.
But towards the end of 2025, your tune changed.
Something happened.
Your tune changed a little bit on it. And a new focus came for you, and you have like shipped a lot of stuff, and you have built like multiple full projects and products, one of them being Solo. And then you went on to launch Solo, get really awesome feedback. And now you are in the phase of, I built a product with AI, and then people liked it, but there were issues. And now I'm having to like actually grow a product built with AI. So I think it's like you are officially over greenfield
completely
AI, and you are now into, I'm not going to say maintenance because you're obviously like building new things with it, but like you're now in a phase where it's like, hey, this idea exists, it is a thing, and now we are working on that thing with AI. Is your honeymoon with AI like your perception on its usefulness, your perception on the speed, on its like ability to be an engineering partner? Has it changed from like your first phase of, hey, I'm building something completely new versus now I'm building the next version of something that I built already with AI. Like, what has there been any changes to your like your perception, into your like, I guess like understanding of how like AI's boundaries or like where its like rough edges are going through like both of those phases?
Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely. And this was so at the end of Thanksgiving of last year, Gemini 3 and Opus 4.6 both came out. And that was the same time I was building Database School platform to host all those videos. And I picked up Gemini 3 to start. And it was just so much better than anything I'd ever experienced before. And so you can hear on the Mostly Technical show around that time when I tell Ian, like, hey, it's good now. And that's always been my problem, not with AI, but my problem with AI hype people is it was always helpful, but it was never as good as the hype people wanted you to believe. And so it was like people wanted me to teach AI, and I'm like, I don't believe in it. Like everybody says it's like life-changing, and I've used it and it's good, but it's not life-changing. And then around Thanksgiving, I think the models got better and it did become far more useful. And I realized like, oh shoot, this is actually very good now. I think we're going to all need to know how to use this. I didn't believe that before Thanksgiving. I didn't believe we all needed to know how to use AI. I thought some people would have like a marginal advantage if they were good at it. But now I think if you're a working engineer and you don't use it, you're going to fall behind, which is fine because it's like easy to pick up and you just like, it's just a new skill, just like all the other skills we've learned. So, as far as like my experience with it, you know, going from greenfield to like active product, that was yes, it's totally different. And this was a huge part of why I wanted to build products and not just try to be an educator. I like being an educator. I enjoy it. I think I'm good at it. People seem to like it. I've done it for a long time. But I think a failure mode of educators is to not be practitioners anymore. And so then I think that's where you end up with like, oh, this Ralph Wiggum loop can build my whole app. And then it builds an app that's terrible to maintain, but they've already moved on to the next thing. And so they just led all these people astray into like, why don't you just let it slop for 24 hours and then click around and be like, hey, it works. Cool. All right, we're on to OpenClaw now. But the working engineer doesn't move on to OpenClaw. They just like, they got tricked into using Ralph Wiggum loops by somebody who used it
and used
it for fun. And now they got to go back to work and like, oh no, turns out a 24-hour slop fest doesn't stay maintainable. And so now, you know, I have a product that people paid for, that people are using in their dev stack, that I developed via AI, that I'm continuing to develop via AI. And so the things that I am like, my constraints are just so much different. I can't just say, hey, this is new and hot. Let's throw it in and then y'all have fun. Like, I hope it works long term. I've only played with it for a day. And so, yeah, like things are definitely different. And I'm learning like a big part of like my experience developing with AI is if you don't rein it in, you're going to lose control super fast. And it's going to do things that technically satisfy your requests, which is, I mean, who can blame it? Like, it's not intelligence. It is trying to technically satisfy your requests. And if you don't come back later, hopefully in a very tight loop, like before you do the commit for that feature, if you don't come back later and say, you technically satisfied it. I clicked through this process start. I got this push notification. I got this add project modal. That all worked. Then you have to go back and be like, let's rein it in. You did the same thing 4 times. You introduced 6 if statements instead of a state machine. Like, this won't work when you consider this edge case. And it's like, oh, that's a great point, sir. And so I'm constantly, both in small loops and big loops, building something and then having to pull it back so that I can maintain this for several years and not just like slop it out into the world and hopefully get some clicks and then move on.
Absolutely. Okay. I like what you said resonates so much. And for the audience, I have like a very, like, when you were saying that, I immediately had like a perfect example of like what you were referring to. So, as everyone who is a regular visitor of the show knows, this is the project that I'm working on, where I'm building like a full music production app. And what I have realized while working with AI is exactly, look, one of the things that you said is something that like hits a lot every time I'm working with AI, which is if you don't keep an eye on it, it just keeps making more. And the worst thing for any engineering system is just more. And like the perfect example in my mind about this is, all right, this bar up here is like your timeline. It like is what allows you to move all the way around like the full width of this track. And then this is called your zoom window, and it allows you to like view like a small portion of this full-sized thing. This right here is a clip. And on a clip, what you can also do is you can resize your clip and view it as like a focused portion of a larger piece of like audio data in this case, or in this case here, like some MIDI data. But the idea here is that like it is a focused window inside of like a larger set of data. Now this is called linear projection, but like AI, when you ask AI and say, hey, I need a timeline for like a DAW view, and then later on you say, all right, now I need to implement clips. These two concepts, these primitives, are the exact same thing. They leverage the same type of math. They leverage the same type of like code paths. As far as like the concepts are, they're the same. But what AI will do is they will re-implement all of that math from scratch in multiple places. And so what you end up with is 2 completely different code paths for a bunch of ad hoc math. And like what that, like one thing that like the word that comes to mind, this is weird. How do you switch? There you go. Thank you, sir. The thing that comes to mind when I think about like developing with AI is that like it is getting so good that we need like friction in the process for us to catch up sometimes. There are times where like I'll be like developing on something for like a full day, and then I'll have to step away at the end of the day, and like on the drive to pick up one of my kids, my thoughts have had time to catch up with all of the work that the AI did. And I think, oh shoot, like A, B, and C are actually all A. And now I need to go back and I need to like I will still use AI to do it, but like I've got to go back and like tell it to rein itself in, which like that would have been way better if I had just done it from the start, but my brain can't keep up with AI. And so it's like, what is have you run it like how do you handle the like getting ahead on like how do you handle that, like that workflow, that process of like there needs to be some, maybe you're just really good at identifying patterns. I'm not, and I need time and friction to like chew on stuff. Do you run into that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's in some regards the same as it's always been for development. And that is, you do, even when you're typing the code yourself, you kind of have to slop it out there and see like, what am I trying to build? You know, because you can always dream something up and then you go to build it and you're like, I didn't think of these 42 things. Right. And so you're like, you're trying to build something, and you take all these different paths of, well, no, it actually should work like this, and this is like both at a product level and a development level. It
Right.
should work like this. It should have this abstraction. And then you're like, actually, that is a terrible abstraction. It doesn't meet the needs of these other things that frankly didn't exist when I first started building this. And so I think development has always been like a expand and contract phase or cycle, where you figure out what you're building kind of along the way. And so with AI, the problem is a lot of people don't go back and contract because they don't have quite the same tight grip on the code. And so when you're developing it yourself, you're like, when you've implemented the same route twice, whether that's like, super close to twice or exactly twice, or like there's parts of it that are twice, and you're like, all right, now it's time to like do my job and unify these routes and make that cleaner.
Right.
And if you don't have your hands on the wheel quite as tightly with AI, that can happen without you knowing that it happened. And so that's another reason I'm just so down on these Ralph Wickham loops, because you're not watching it happen. Like, even if I'm not typing the code, which I'm not, I don't type code at all anymore, I'm still watching it scroll by, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? And so like part of it is like you let the AI land the feature, and then you confirm that it works. And ideally you can put some sort of like higher level test harness around it, like an integration or something. So that like, when I click this button, this thing is assertable in the database. And then like you land that, and then you go back and you say, all right. And you can even be as vague as being like, it feels like these two things are a similar idea, and we're handling them differently. Is there a concept we can pull out of this? And it'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, it's identical. We should definitely do that. And you're like, come on.
Yep.
There's another tell for that. And that's when you feel like you're chasing something in a circle, whether that's like a functionality or a bug or something. You feel like, man, I just keep prompting harder and it never is working. And that's when I think you as the engineer have to step back and say, like, what's the data structure I'm missing? What's the abstraction I'm missing? What's the like state handling I'm missing? Because it's usually one of those things, right? It's usually you're handling state in like a wonky or like spaghetti sort of way. And if you were to centralize your state management, you wouldn't have these bugs popping up when you click something else happens. It's usually like, oh, you need you have 4 Booleans here that all are handling this one idea of state. Why don't we just make a state machine so we don't have like these race conditions where you're flipping Booleans on and off? And it used to be like, when you write the code yourself, once you saw that code, you would be like, great, I can unify these concepts. And now it's more of like, when you feel that it's starting to get brittle, you have to be like, hang on, tell me how you did this.
You gotta
exactly.
be one with the force almost.
Well, we've got an is loading, an is error, an is ready, and an is stable. And I'm like, well, don't do that. Like, let's just make a unified state that encompasses all those positions. And so I have a few sets of like rules or guidelines that I can run. And one of them is like auditing either the app or most likely a feature or a recent commit. You can do any of those for certain types of failure modes, one of which is the possibility for drift. And if you ask the app like, hey, where could things drift out of sync? It's like, oh, well, you define these on the back end and these on the front end, and right now they're the exact same, but there's no unified contract. And you're like, well, then we're going to be freaking out.
We love unified contracts. Fix that.
And so that's the kind of stuff that I think you have to keep in a tight loop. And so you can't push anything without like constraining the code back in, because if you do, it'll get away from you. And that's the same with adding tests, because like if you get to the end of like V1 of whatever project or product or feature you're working on, and then you're like, hey, can you go add tests for this? There's not enough context for the AI to go add tests for 100,000 lines of code, because now you're done with V1 and you're like, oh, we need some tests. Like along the way, as you discover, oh, this was wonky. Oh, well, great, we fixed that. That's when you have to like solidify the behavior with a test. Otherwise, all of that rich like edge case error handling is all going to be gone by the time you get to V1, and you're like, hey, write some tests, and it's going to write like 50 tests that exercise happy paths, and you're never going to get those learnings back.
Well, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I am curious then of not only your perspective now, but if you think about in the future, because you mentioned, okay, you have rules and you have like I imagine you probably have some skills. I don't know what your full thoughts on skills are and stuff like that. Do you think that it still needs that look over, or are rules and skills either in a good place now for 90% of things, or ever going to be in a good place where you can think, hey, for that state machine issue, for example, if I have a skill and I know when I'm implementing it's probably going to go off, and I say, hey, make sure to use this skill when you're implementing this, just to double check in the initial prompt. Do you think that's enough to fix it? Or do you think like that look over is still going to be necessary?
The look over the product or the look over the scrolling code?
Scrolling code.
I think it will still be helpful for a long time. So as far as skills go, I think skills are really helpful, and I have many of them. I don't think those are tight enough guardrails for anything, because skills can be totally ignored. They can just decide not to pick it up. And they, by their very nature, have to be a little bit generic. Even if you write like a specific skill, like in this use case, do that, that is different than I am implementing this feature right here with these code paths. The way that I have a lot of rules, and rules only apply in Claude Code and I think Cursor. And rules are kind of like skills, but a little tighter, and I like those. And then most of the skills I treat as a bonus while I'm working, and then manually invoke them when I'm done or ready for that skill to be used. And that's the thing I do the most, which is like, I'll finish a spike on a feature. Then I look it over from like the user's perspective, because if you solidify with tests the behavior, and it's like, I tested all the behavior and it works, and then you open it and it doesn't work, you're like, well, now the tests like don't even give me any confidence whatsoever. Right. So I finish, this feature spike or the feature or whatever, confirm that it works the way that I want it to work. And then I have a couple of skills that I'll manually invoke. One of which is tests new. And so tests new looks back over all uncommitted changes and like one commit back or something like that. And it like instructs it to look at whatever it just did with fresh eyes and add new tests. And it always is like, oh, these would be high quality regression tests to add. And I'm like, why didn't you do that in the first place? And then I have another one called finalize. So I'll run new tests, and then I run finalize, and finalize looks back over it with fresh eyes for any false paths we started down, any debug that we did, any duplicate code. It's like, oh man, we were bebopping and we ended up writing this in a couple places. Like, that's my skill for, hey, we landed it. It's good. Like, don't change any fundamentals, but like, let's clean this up before we commit it. Because if I don't clean it up right now, I, as the human, am not going to have enough context to come back in later and say, look at these 3 files in these specific parts and see if there's anything we can clean up. It's gonna be like,
even the AI will have a tougher time of doing it later on too.
Yes, it will.
Like, as soon as the context balloons, like your fidelity on AI.
That one compaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. And then I will maybe, once a day or once a week, I'll run some audit commands. And that's where like it's a skill, but I manually invoke it. So I think of it as a command, and I'll run the audit drift, audit errors, audit types, like that kind of stuff. Looking for like broader stroke stuff that like shouldn't, like bad patterns more than like cleaning up the onesie twosies.
And again, most of that is probably beneficial because of the fresh eyes. It doesn't have all this context to weigh it down. It's like, oh, hey, you've never seen this code base before. Here's the things I'm looking for. Double check it. Would that be correct?
That is correct. Yep, absolutely. And then I will also like yesterday I was working on just a huge amount of stuff. And then this morning, I have a NPM package called Counselors that like farms out prompts to, it's great. Farms out prompts to like multiple LLMs on your local machine, but doesn't request any changes whatsoever. So it's not like, let's do a multi-agent slop fest where everybody can touch anything. All it does is it writes a single prompt that it gives to 3 or 10, however many you want, different LLMs that says, like, you're acting as a code reviewer and you need to be critical. Like, find the things, and I'll usually give it like the past 4 hours of commits. I'm in Central Time Zone, and it'll like pull the past 4 hours of commits, or I'll say like since last night at 11:30 p.m. because it's like, those commits were probably not very good if it was 11:30 p.m. And it pulls all those commits, and they each get to give a synthesis of like what we've done wrong. And frankly, it's like every time it finds, well, this is a critical regression that you've introduced, or a critical oversight. And so it's that constant loop of do a bunch of work, pull it back, refine it, do a bunch of work, pull it back. And it's just
riff a little
over
bit,
and over.
Refine a little bit,
exactly.
Bit,
over and over and over. You're like letting the garden become way too messy. And then you're trimming it back once you figured out what you want that to actually look like.
Man, I need to work on my AI agent hygiene. They're like, this is like something that I've been realizing over like the past couple months of using AI, is that I have always been, I became an engineer through a design path. And so I am a very creative type in the way that my brain functions, which means lots of exploration, lots of like trying stuff, following rabbit holes, because that's just how like the creative process works. And it was fine before because I was the one handwriting every single line of code. So when I did something, I knew where everything was. Of course, and I was able to keep track of everything, and I was able to prune things. But when you do that same process, that creative rabbit hole process with AI, and you don't take the time to do what you just talked about, like I can feel like exactly what we're talking about, where it's like it starts getting unruly and getting to the point where it's like, man, I don't know if I can tame this. And then next thing you know, you're Laravel newing and you're an Ian. So
yep, exactly. You never want to go full Ian.
Never want to go full Ian.
Go look on faster.dev for the audit. There's an audit series, and there's like, I think 6 or 7 copyable skills you can just give to your clanker to install for itself. And just start with the audit drift command, and it's going to come back with like, hey, you've got these impossible states, you've got this Boolean explosion, you've got blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it'll be extremely helpful for cleaning up in broad paths.
Well, I am jumping into that today and the end of this week, and we'll have an update by the next show on my faster.dev breakdown and how I'm using it in my workflows.
Yes,
also, dang it, Jason, you got me. You're not wrong. Can't even tame a cabinet door. All right.
Carcos says, Counselors made me think about the Finding Better Problems doc from Jeremy at Laracon AU. Yeah, I think one of the things that Counselors has been beneficial for me is there's so much things that I'm like, okay, it's when you get to that breaking point of like, I know you're being an idiot right now.
Yep.
And instead of just starting from scratch, just go think about this for a little bit. It's like talking to my toddler sometimes. It's like, hey, you know what you're supposed to be doing. Just chill out for a little bit, go think about it, and then go talk to your mom and figure things out and come back and let's fix this together. I think like that's what counselors is interesting for, because it's that context window. I think it's that fresh set of eyes where it's like, I don't have this whole thing to weigh myself down. Like, oh, this is what I was thinking of. This is what I want. Like we do this human wise a lot when it's like, hey, I'm sending this to someone else. They don't have the 3 months past of thoughts that you've had before this. All they have is like, oh yeah, when I click on this, I expect this to happen, and it doesn't happen. And AI inherently does better not doing that, but I think there is those times when it does better, at least injecting that little bit of context, that little bit of an assistance.
Yeah, and like if you tell it, hey, you're being a critical reviewer, as dumb as that sounds, it like changes its entire perspective. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at being a critical reviewer now, and I'll critically review it and I'll find all these issues. It's like, well, it doesn't seem like that should have worked, but also I had to verify the username, and I don't know how to say it. Carco WG. He's the same one that made the Fast and Francis comic of my life. The Fast and Furious.
Really?
Yes, that's it. I was trying to verify the username.
WG.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
That was so sick.
It was so good.
To be known so well for liking Fast and Furious that somebody makes a comic of it is just like gold.
I showed it to my wife and she was like, I'm sorry, what is going on here? And it's like, never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
LOL. Literally everyday conversations with Allie is just what are you talking about?
When you mentioned like telling AI being like, this is you, it reminds me of all of those cheesy either commercials or like the sitcom when it's like, like you are a go-getter, and like you're telling the AI something that it doesn't really matter, but it does at the same time, and it's just hilarious to me every time it happens. You are an expert in Laravel code. Somehow it knows. Okay, sure, I am.
Oh, you're right. Thank you for letting me know. All right, 3 threads that I want to pull. Okay, first one, it's gonna be a little drama thread. So yesterday, Cloudflare used AI to rewrite Next.js. Now, I know that you have like no skin in the game whatsoever, Aaron, when it comes to JavaScript frameworks. Although you are a recent adopter of React, I am aware that you are using it in a completely different way than most React developers are for like big products. You still don't care. You're just sending the AI at it. I don't care to talk about Next.js or like framework. Like I don't care about that. What I do care about is that the way that it happened. So the way that it happened was that somebody at the company used all of the tests, the very comprehensive open source, like verifiable steps to prove that you have replicated this other piece of software, to replicate that piece of software with changes that they wanted to it. And today I saw from 2 different sources of big open source projects where they have kept their project open source, but they have closed sourced their testing.
Ooh, we're an investigative show now.
for this exact like reason is that tests, like you mentioned, you talked a lot about it just now, Aaron. Tests apparently have become like very valuable currency these days in the world of AI. I don't know. I just thought that was like super interesting, and like, yeah, it's like that's a lot of drama because Cloudflare and the Triangle Company apparently like hate each other, and then they just their framework.
I mean, I don't have any skin in the game here, so I can just say that Next.js is a disaster. It's just a terrible framework that like used to be, as I understand it, used to be pretty good and pretty helpful, and then they just kind of exploded in complexity and very, very difficult to like actually get anything done in it. So that's my I don't really care about it point of view, is like I'm super glad that like I have a designer building out a new faster.dev landing page, and he's like, so do you want me to code this up in Next? And I'm like, never. Never, ever, 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 ever do I want Next. You can use React.
Don't ever have those
I
words come out of your mouth again. In
I
fact.
personally don't like React much either. I think it requires far too much hand holding, and is like, oh, you forgot to, put a dependency or a memo here. Enjoy your infinite renders. It's like, I'm happy that level of control exists, but I think that's a bad user experience. I think Vue.js is so much better.
I think I said this on maybe two shows ago. My spicy take is that AI, we think AI does better at React because there's more context to pull from. But I think AI, especially current AI and future AI, is going to do better at things that have more constraints, like Vue.js, like a Livewire, even like Solid.js would be a great example, or even like specific meta frameworks like TanStack.
Yeah, I don't think React is well designed for people to use. I'm sure it's well designed for people to build other frameworks on top of, but I don't think it's well designed for people to use. I think it's a disaster. But SQLite has had this strategy for years. SQLite is open source, but the test suite is not. And they have licensed the test suite for hundreds of thousands of dollars to companies who are trying to do these obscure like SQL implementations. Like people building brand new databases will license the SQLite test set because you can then prove that your database is like fundamentally correct. So I think that's a fine business business move. I saw TL Draw did it. Who's the second one?
One of the ones that I saw today.
Who was the second one?
It was. Oh, I didn't. I thought the SQLite one was a recent thing, but you say that's been.
Oh no, that's been that way since the beginning.
That's crazy.
Okay, so I mean that's proof even without AI. But yeah,
because you could see if even pre-AI, if you could verify that your database engine is like byte for byte compatible with SQLite, then you could just make a brand new one that competes with SQLite. And like SQLite's big claim to fame is how rock solid it is. Like it's like 600 lines of code or 600 lines of tests for every line of code or something. It's unbelievable. So yeah, they have made a ton of money off of that proprietary.
Cool. I didn't know that. Cases. I'm so glad that you were on here because the database man himself with the knowledge. All right.
I know it's good lore.
It is great lore. I mean, live, laugh, lore, as they say.
They do say that.
So second thread that I thought of during that conversation, me and Josh are notorious for always finding a way to agree about a topic and never disagree.
We have no original ideas around here.
Very frustrating. As a show for entertainment, you can't agree. That's just rule number one, which is why you and Ian work so well together, is because
we never agree on anything.
Ian is very good at having a very differing opinion from you. So this unfortunately falls under the category of me and Josh agree. But share my screen real quick. Josh, you had this tweet, and I started thinking about it when Aaron was talking.
This has potential to be a really good tweet. I agree.
Yes. So this was, I think you were like expanding on what you just said, which was like, you think more opinionated things will be better with AI in the future. Aaron, you kind of mentioned this when you were kind of talking through what you were saying, which was like, before you know it, AI has implemented the same thing in multiple locations. AI isn't like unifying state when it has just unlimited scope. Then it's going to have like unlimited iterations of something. And so, Josh, you had this really good opinion that you think that the future of like, I think there's like two paths in my mind. Like you think that the future of like coding with AI, we are going to have like new frameworks, new languages, new stuff, just new things that people are creating that like just lock down what is possible to like the paths that AI can go down, so that people, what would you say? So people can move faster. Like what is your thinking behind this like idea that like the future is more fenced in, more like well-trodden path kind of approach.
I think in the sense that I don't necessarily think it will be new frameworks, but it will be new. Before in the past, we've had React, and then you have meta frameworks that is not the same as like a full stack framework like a Laravel. You have Next.js, you have Solid with Solid Start, you have React with Tan Stack. Each one of those has so much freedom within it. I think as AI gets better, we're going to be finding more and more constraints built on top of those existing frameworks, where like each individual good developer is probably going to have, this is my starter kit for 90% of everything, and it has every single constraint built in. And it has like, okay, this is exactly how I write a front end component. I do not want any of this to change. It's exactly how I write a test. I do not want any of this to change, because I think with current AI, if you don't have those constraints built in, and I kind of said it in the post, like I think full stack frameworks like Laravel and Rails are a good starting point, but it's still, there's still so many paths that you can diverge from there. And AI likes to diverge and say, hey, oh, you're using React with inertia. Well, I can pull in this one component, or you need broadcasting. Oh, I can pull in this. I can use Axios instead of like a use echo hook. Like it's so small niceties that you're going to need later on, and the more constrained you are from the start, I think it's going to be better in the future.
Yeah, this is why I don't buy the whole like frameworks are going to die, the machines will just write assembly. I just think that's an insane take. I think you're right, Josh. I think it's like the frameworks are not going to die. We're just going to have more frameworks, like higher and higher and higher levels of abstraction.
Meta, we're gonna have meta framework. Like to me,
we
like,
are
skills and like MCPs, like all these like layers on top of AI are just like, they're just starter kits. Yeah. They're just these like ways to encode opinions from people you trust to do things that you don't feel you have the expertise to do.
I almost see it as like, I know all of us are at least, you know, maybe not full fans, but like know who DHH is. And it's one of those things where like you have all of Linux distros have existed for tens of 30s, 50 years, whatever that is.
Thousands of years.
It feels like thousands of years. But all of a sudden, just within like the last year, Linux is blown up because there's an opinionated guidelines frameworks of like, hey, this is exactly how it looks, and these are exact kind of packages. And even in that, you have like specific guarding fences and everything like that that DHA just put out with Umachi. And like, I think that's what I see with coding as well in the future. It's like you need all those opinions and strong feelings and fences.
And I mean, even in this Tari app that I'm building, it's almost, in some regards, it's evolving into its own little framework, because I'm adding like, I'm adding, of course, there's like English rules that the machines are supposed to pick up on and enforce. But at every possible turn, I'm having it write deterministic code to enforce things that I want. So you can write ESLint rules for almost anything, right? And so if you can express it in code, you can pretty much turn it into an ESLint rule that's like, hey, one time you did something stupid and I caught it, and now I want you to write this ESLint rule that says we don't do stupid things. And then that gets enforced in CI. Right.
And so I've never thought about that.
Yeah, you're never going to pass CI if you've got an if statement that has, 6 conditions. It's like, that's just stupid. We don't do that.
I am so curious how many people are working now on like, there's somebody out there, I guarantee right now, working on some type of product that is like branded ESLint for like this exact use case that you're talking about. Like, this way of like even a language on top of React, like some kind of language on top of your code base to enforce like very strict things. I don't know. Like, I had never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Like,
so
a test, like it is a test, but it's like a lint. And like, I never thought writing custom lint rules. It's just like, nope, there are lint rules, and those are just the ones.
No. And so even like, regardless of language pattern, whatever. So like on the back end, this is a Rust application, and in Rust you can have these certain types of things that cause panics and cause the app to crash. And so I now have it's a shell script that enforces that there are no unsafe unwraps in the Rust code, and that runs in CI to enforce that I don't introduce a panic, but it only applies after a certain git commit. And so even if you're like, hey, I'm not ready to go back and refactor or like protect, 8 months of coding, from this point on, we don't make this mistake again.
Yeah.
And you can tell the clanker like, hey, I need you to write me a shell script that we're going to run in CI that enforces from this point on, don't make this mistake.
Right.
And then maybe when I get around to it, we'll move that point backwards and backwards and backwards. And then eventually it's just like, in this code base, we do not do this thing. And so I think a lot of people are missing the amount and power of static analysis that you can do, because if you rely, and this is why I say that skills are awesome, but I don't ever rely on them. If you can enforce it with some sort of deterministic check and then make your CI complicated enough that every single goddamn check that you can think of runs, then you should do it that way.
Man, we love static analysis. Jason Beggs, if you are listening, this is once again, Aaron's saying this now, but TypeScript is better than JavaScript because
now
of
it
static
is.
Analysis. Sorry, Jason.
Now it is.
You hate it, but it is better.
Yep. Yeah, I'm fully Wayfinder, inertia TypeScript. I have DTOs on the back end that confirm every shape of everything going across the wire. And yesterday I'm trying to deploy this thing and I keep getting caught in CI and I'm like, TypeScript is so stupid. CI sucks. And then I'm like, oh, I guess that was kind of the point of it. So like, yeah, every possible surface area is turned into something that is checkable somehow.
Yep. And I think like that shows you kind of mentioned and kind of proved in the fact that like, oh, we're not going to see new frameworks. It's not going to like, we're going to be like, oh, because I have all these checks, I'm going to build my own version of ESLint. No, I think you're going to have your own flavor of ESLint that you already do. And now other people are going to see that as well. I think it evolves.
Yeah. It's like the type of engineering has now moved to like two completely different ends of the spectrum. Like you are now either fully someone who just gardens the creation of products. Like your job is to like send the agents on their task and to monitor them and like prune and direct the growth of something, or you are the person who is making the tools for that gardening. And like there's like that's I forget who it was who was talking about this. Rats. Who was it? I don't remember who it was. But they were basically like talking. Oh, it was the guy who's creating Solid JS. Where like that was kind of like one of his premises going into AI, one of his predictions, which is just like it is going to be so easy to do any type of like in between work for like, because I think this was in like reference to like Next.js getting copied, where it's like you are no longer, there's no value building on top of somebody else's primitives. If you are trying to sell that work that's right on top of it to other people to build with, like all the value comes at being someone who creates primitives or someone who is like building real things for other people. And I think that's definitely happening where there's like where AI is attacking people the most is like the in-between stuff. But yeah, I think there's still a lot like people who have deep expertise in creating tools to do stuff like this, I think is always going to be there. Because the robot's got to use something,
Yeah, and I think frameworks and what I'm talking about with like custom static analysis point to the exact same like reality, which is once you get something locked, you want it to work forever.
Hmm.
And so use the probabilistic LLMs that give you a different answer every time to generate deterministic scripts, frameworks, helpers, whatever, that run 100% consistently all the time. And so people that are like, I just use the skills to make sure I do it right. I'm like, that is just not deterministic enough. Use the skills like to codify some sort of static analysis check that enforces, and then when you find out that your static analysis check is doing something slightly wrong, you fix it and it stays fixed forever. And so that's what I think a lot of people are missing right now, is not like everybody's building an AI development tool, but I think most people could benefit from using AI to build guardrails, lint, checks, CI pipelines that actually exercise things. That's where I think a lot of value is still left for like the working developer.
It's very true.
My question on that then is hearing your thoughts. Most of your skills, it seems like, are Git related, and this may be like more personal interest as well. But like, I'm curious then, is that something that you are like evaluating within the agentic coding, saying like, okay, after you do this, make sure to commit? Is there any hooks that you've got going on with that? Or that is your manual, you're not going to give that up? You are manually approving, manually committing, manually pushing.
I haven't manually commit in months, but I also don't have any hooks. And I don't prefer it to auto commit. Some of them, like some repos, I have auto commit like actually blocked from like via like Claude permissions. But whenever it's time to commit, I just type the word commit and hit enter, and it costs me 4 cents to, commit. But I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to like get out of Claude to go over and like remember the git commands. But no, I don't. And this again goes back to like my disdain for unattended loops. It's like, I want to be in control of landing something into the branch. I don't need to type it. I don't need to even like review all the code. I'm watching it go by. I'm feeling, okay, this feels right. These tests work. This passes. I'm not going to go manually review every diff. But I do stop at the point of, all right, it's time to land something. And that's when I manually apply my quality gates of like, have you written all the tests? Are you sure about that? Did we remove any dead code? And then sometimes if it's a big, like, scary thing, I'll just right there ask the counselors, review these unstaged changes or stage changes, either way, and give me a risk assessment on this. And then I'll get it back and it's like, oh, you missed these, 4 edge cases. So I don't like to do, I haven't gone full like unattended sandboxes either, cloud agents, for this exact same reason. Because I feel like if you just let the loop go on too long, you're going to miss valuable mistakes. And whether that is like incremental user testing, like do a thing, try it, do a thing, try it, or watching the code scroll by and be like, brother, we have done this 4 times. What the hell are you doing? I feel like if you just let her rip on 10 features and then you come back to a bunch of sandboxes and you're like, man, I don't know. Go. Merge them all in. It's like, I don't know. Not to say we'll never get there and not to say I'll never get there, but I'm certainly not there now.
I think there is a path to getting there. I think it is going to take time to build up the right, like, I think it's just a completely new way of developing. So we've got to build completely new ways of being able to get that level of confidence by reading less code. I think that's what we've got to get to, is like you said, like there's a vibe you get from paying attention to what's going on. I think that there's going to be a future where we move towards like new review based, like the interface we look at is not an IDE. It is some tool that gives us context on all the things that are happening, is able to like add, like we've got those guardrail you're talking about, like we need to be leveraging for like static analysis and guardrails. And so like there will come a confidence threshold that we can meet with tools that people are creating now, to where we can spin up more work and feel the same level of confidence that the vibe is right, because of us being able to put in place whatever these new review frameworks are on like the output of agents.
Yeah, like I was just, before I got on here, I was just having Codex implement like a test automation thing for Solo that runs here on my Mac, because it's just impossible to do end-to-end testing on a Mac. They just don't expose the right stuff in Playwright, Tari. So it kind of sucks. But I'm watching it like write this test harness, and 30 times it writes this same kind of JavaScript code to go find this button and click on the selector. And like if I ran all those tests without looking, I'd be like, oh, cool. Like I'm getting end-to-end tests now. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, it works. Now go back and let's extract some helpers. And it's like, oh yeah, I see we're duplicating this at all these places. So it says refactored integration suite to use shared helpers, refactored process lifecycle to use shared helpers. And I'm like, yes. Like, why did you do that in the first place? Because I know that a month from now, I'm going to have to like change how that little like
one
label
single thing,
is on the UI, and 30 tests are going to break, and it's going to have to update 30 places. And it's like, this is really stupid. Like, you should have done this better in the first place. And if I wasn't watching it, I would have let it get away with it, and it would come back to bite me, which again goes back to, I'm not going to teach people how to develop with AI if I'm just LARPing. Like, I have to actually develop products. Otherwise, I'm going to lead people astray.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Aaron, notoriously not a LARPer.
Not a LARPer.
I'm curious then, Aaron. Mateus said the review thing is really context dependent, I think. Like if it's a throwaway app I'm doing on the weekend, who cares, right? But no chance I'm yelling at work, I'd get fired.
Totally.
Do you agree? Like, so do you YOLO? Do you run Ralph loops for fun?
Yeah. So like for your
what do you do in your
tracking?
Just a couple of Ralph loops.
Yeah, for your workout tracking app. I don't care if you ever look at a single. You could Ralph that to the moon. I don't care at all. But I also think that means like at work, I don't think at work you should do no AI coding, because it's like, I think the distinction is in your free time and for your fun apps, do whatever the hell you want. And then at work, definitely use AI, but don't, like, you have to do it in a conscientious and mature way. And so I don't think the distinction is work, you have to handwrite it, which is not what Mateus is saying. Work, you have to handwrite it, and hobby, you can Ralph loop it. And to answer your question, I haven't Ralph looped anything at all. I installed the Claude Ralph plugin and tried to get it going, and was like, one, the Claude Ralph plugin doesn't even work. And then two, I was like, I don't want this to work. So I've never Ralphed anything.
Yeah, the only extension thing that it's, I forget who it's built. Someone in the Laravel community. It's called Chief, CHIEF, like Chief. And it's basically like a it gets a plan, and then it, like, you tell it, hey, this is the plan I want, and it creates like 12 huge tasks. It takes about, like, with Codex or with Claude, I think it is only Claude, I think it takes like around 4 or 5 hours, something like that for thing. So it's a longer kind of process kind of thing, and I burned through all my tokens on it. But that's the only kind of long-standing loop I've ever done. I'm curious then, in terms of like, maybe this might be more of a spicy take, but do you think that it's going to become more important in how we view diffs? Are diffs going to be a thing still? Or is it going to be more of like a context diff? Like, this is what it did before, this is what it does now, after those stack analysis is run, after all of like, hey, we've confirmed everything works. Is diff of code going to be a thing, or is it going to be more important?
I'll give you the maxi take on that.
Let's do the maxi one.
I think diffs are still going to be incredibly important, but they're going to be totally irrelevant to humans.
Okay.
And that's how I work currently is, some people are like, I'm, ripping 5 agents on one code base at once. I I have not gotten there yet either, work tree or not. I haven't gotten there because I want each commit to be like a solid unified thing. And we've already kind of talked about my loop, but I want it to be a solid unified thing that hopefully for the most part focuses on one discrete idea, because I think at some point something's going to go wrong, and I want the clanker to be able to use get bisect, which is like something you have to know about. Get bisect to go back to a working point and then bisect down to where we broke it. And I don't want a commit to contain 80 different things. I want it to contain like one set of changes that hopefully I've added new tests on, I've finalized, I've pulled it back. Hopefully that commit is pretty self-contained. So I think diffs are still going to super matter, but not to me, like not to the human.
The most reasonable AI influencer of all time, Aaron Francis. All right.
I hope so.
I have one last thread before we wrap everything up. Knowing you, Aaron, you are a man of software. You are a man of the internet, but you are also a man of like a project that is built with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
With AI coming around, have you had any overlap in like AI influencing new projects that you can do out of like the digital world? Like, has there been any crossover? Like, has it like inspired some like, oh man, you've been very focused on other things at the moment, but surely in the back of your mind, something has been like, oh man, this would be a sweet product if I could, project that I could do.
Totally. I mean, I have been too busy to do anything like, fun like that. But yeah, I mean, I am in the process. This is not finalized yet. I'm in the process of leasing a commercial space.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
So I will get out of the apartment into 1,000 square feet of blank white box. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And so in that process, I've had Claude, YOLO some floor plans of like, because it's truly just a 20 by 50 rectangle. It's completely empty. Yeah. And so I've had Claude whip up some SVG floor plans. I've had, I definitely will be integrating like, I forget what the open source one is called, HomeKit, or what's the one that like is super interoperable, not Apple's version.
I don't know what the
like Google's one, or
no, it's like a open source standard thing. It's like a Raspberry Pi with Zigbee and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then it has like thousands of integrations. But I'll definitely be wiring that up in the new space. Home Assistant, that's the one. Yes. I think HomeKit is Apple's one that sucks. And Home Assistant's got like, it's got little dedicated hardware that has wake words. And so you can just like, you could say, hey, whoever, and then it would like, hey, I'm here, or like I'm leaving, and it like turns off all the lights, or it turns on the lights and turns on the music and puts my calendar on the wall, and then I could talk to. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm gonna definitely. It's like it'll be like super constrained open cloth style. That's what I was gonna say.
It'll be like
it won't be open cloth, but it'll be like super constrained version of that integrates with. And then I can have all of this on like automated, so I can be like, hey, I'm going to record a video now, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing that.
You need to have Camp Francis when you move into the new space, and I will fly out, and I'm sure there'll be a couple others who would be. So I'm sure Jason. We can bring Jason along. He's pretty handy, and we'll get the place set up. That sounds sick.
What would you call this assistant of yours? Like I feel like you have to have a name.
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I really have been thinking about it. And Jarvis has played, like Jeeves has played. So I don't know, but it has to be something good.
Yeah.
And so that is truly one spot I'm hung up on, is like, I don't have a name for it yet.
Yeah, that's the key. You can't actually do things until there's a good name.
No, I agree. You have to have a container upon or into which you can cast these ideas, and until you have that, it's like, it's kind of amorphous.
Yeah.
It might give you some ideas, but so I killed my open claw one because I was like, I need more constraint specific to my personality. And so I'm building another one, but I called it because my third kid, we didn't know if it was going to be a boy or girl. And so we had a boy name picked out and a girl name picked out. Ended up being a girl. So I'm calling it the boy name because that was one of my favorite names.
Fun.
So
Boy name.
Clive.
Clive.
That's
After
a good
Clive,
one.
Staples
Clive
lives.
Siri. CC.
That is a good
Man,
one.
I love an alliteration. Let me tell you.
Alliteration. All my kids are like,
I wanted to name
A,
one of our
B,
boys
C,
Cameron
so.
King just for the alliteration, and Allie was like, absolutely not. And I was like, well, you're growing it, so I don't have a choice.
I wanted to name a girl Francis, and Jennifer said,
that would have been
absolutely not. I thought it was a great name.
That's a great name. That's a great
What
name.
a name. That is good.
I know.
All right.
Reginald is a good name, Jason. That's a good like bot name, Reginald.
That is.
Any kind of butler name.
Yeah. All right. This was fun. I think I'm going to like Wednesdays. I don't feel stressed. We could keep going on forever, but life must go on. Aaron, what you got coming up next week? You're flying out of the country.
I'm flying to Europe. I will be heading to Lyricon EU. So I have to leave on Saturday. Ian and I are hosting a party pre-Lyricon. And then I get to just hang out. I don't have any responsibilities, which is super nice.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I have submitted a talk idea for Lyricon this year, but I'm almost thinking, please don't, because I think I'd actually like to just go and just hang. So
sounds nice.
But you're already locked in for MC on US, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and I've already told them I'm not doing a talk.
MC
last year they were like, hey, you want to do a 15-minute talk because you're on the slot and I was like, oh shoot. And this year I told them early, I'm not doing a talk. I'll MC, I'll do the how's your father, welcome to the show, but I'm not doing a talk. And they're like, that's fine.
Oh, sick.
I love it.
I'm a big Joe fan, so yes, Jason, if I end up going, we need to go to that concert. That would be sick.
Be fun Boston night.
What you got going on, Mr. Siri?
For those in the chat who don't know, because it's kind of it's a niche throwback, but we do this week, next week, kind of in honor of Mr. Francis here, because he had a weekend. What did you call it? Recap, weekend review, or did you just call it this week, next week? It was just
this week, next week. Yeah,
he's like, what? I did that.
Yeah, sometimes I forget things.
This week, next week.
I love that.
You only did it for like a month and a half,
4 weeks. Yeah.
But it was still a good time. So that's why we do that on Riff and Refine shows, because and it's a good way to recall what you did. This next week, the end of this, it's weird doing this on a Wednesday though. I will say that. Like I'm not thinking towards the following week. I'm thinking towards the end of this week. This next week
it won't be this week, next week. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. This past week.
We'll rebrand it.
Past week. Something.
Yeah.
But I am focusing on so the guitar that I had built. One of the pieces broke.
Live concert coming soon.
Yeah, I got the replacement. The company that sent it, This Is Noise, incredible company. Check them out if you want to. They're great. They're like, hey, we're sorry it broke. We'll send you another one, which was awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
So I sent it. I am finalizing the app that I'm building because I was like, oh, I need to finish that up. And I'm launching on the App Store this next week. So that'll be fun just to see, because I've had some people on Reddit be like, hey, I want that because Apple's product sucks.
Awesome. In a music Reddit?
Yep, music Reddit. Like
sick.
Basically like an iPad music subreddit is where I've been posting a lot of stuff for it.
That is awesome.
It's a fun world. So that's why I'm finishing up this next week. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I kind of told Will last week, I have been in this process of I want to do more creating that is not just idea driven, because I feel like I love the idea driven development for putting in an AI, like, hey, I want this thing, but I've been feeling less hands on, and so I've been teaching myself to become better at music production. And so I am aiming for one song recorded and produced every week.
Whoa, that's a lot.
For the next 6 weeks. So I already have one. We're going for 2 years.
Wow, good for you. That's a
Dude,
lot.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's been fun. It's been fun. What about you, Will?
Well, okay, so much in the same. So I'm continuing to work on the DAW always, but I am swiftly approaching React Miami, where I'm giving a talk on like AI has broken hiring. What now? And I need to start actually crystallizing the talk. So I am always the way I like to approach talks is like I have a note in whatever note app. For me, it's Notion. But I just have this note, and anytime I see like a tweet that makes me think about ideas that I've had about my talk, I grab the tweet and I throw it in there. Anytime I have like an idea on it, I grab it, I like immediately like write it down in there, and I just keep this long giant note of like running thoughts on the concept and just let it marinate in my head until we get within, a month and a half of the talk. And then I use that month and a half to like crystallize it all into something that can be presented, because like, especially with like talks like this, things change so much. And so like, even within like the first, when I submitted this, the ideas that I had, like things are changing on like what I think is going to be important to talk about. Even like this chat that we had here today with you, Aaron, like the stuff on like guardrails and like linting and like our job as like gardeners. Like a lot of that is like evolutions on some of the stuff that I've saved in there. So like stuff that we've talked about today will go in there. But yeah, I need to start crystallizing it, putting it into slides, practicing it. Nobody likes the person who makes it the week before and shows up having not practiced it. So I am going to show up prepared. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited for it. And then I'm getting to the point with the DAW that, one, I need a name for it because nobody knows what a DAW is, and I'm tired of calling it a DAW because DAW sounds really dumb to say out loud, but I need to name it. And now I'm getting to this point where like my instincts as a designer are now less important than my instincts as somebody who makes music. I am now to this point where I'm trying to think, well, what is the right user experience for something? And I could just look at all the different music software out there, and I could see how they do it, and I could just make my own version of that. But I don't like that. So I'm going to start trying to make music. I'm not good at it yet, but if I'm building this, music's always something I've wanted to make, like electronic music, like synthesizer type music. So like I want to do some stuff like that. I want to start making it. I want to start doing it in like actual dolls and try to make stuff. And I think by doing that, my opinions on like how I should make my doll will be better by doing that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to try to make some music, and I will share it on the show as I make it, for better or worse. Most likely worse. So
especially if you try out like 3 or 4, like if you try out Ableton, Logic Pro, like if you really dive into those.
The other one.
I wouldn't use Pro Tools right now. That's more of like, maybe like for your thing, I would say like
Ableton,
probably Ableton, Logic Pro, and then like FL Studio.
Like I've heard of FL. Yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, that's like my idea is like, I'm going to make a song. I'm going to then make that same song across a few different DAWs, see what the experience feels like. And yeah, we're just digging even deeper into this hole of fun. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I love it. So
well, that's good enough reason right there.
There you go.
It's fun. It's fun.
Aaron, where can people find you, and what's something that they should know?
They can find me on x.com, the everything app, as Aaron D. Francis. They should know that Solo is really good, but don't buy it yet because it sucks right now. And then faster.dev is online, but don't make a big fuss about it because I'm still fixing up some UI, doing some stuff, putting in some new videos, and then I'll do a big tweet about it sometime soon.
I love it. Well, we're glad that we could help you do like a minuscule tiny soft
Yeah,
launch.
this
We
is a
talked
friend.
there
This is
little
a friends and family round.
Yeah.
Everyone here knows us and likes
Yeah,
us. I just don't want it to get out to the broader world, you know,
okay.
and be like,
Well, I would have said it wouldn't have been that broad of a world, but you've definitely
Yeah.
pumped the numbers showing up. So
Yeah.
no, well, surprise, everyone, it's out. Yeah, no, it's good right now. There's just like, if you know, make the browser super narrow, some text overlaps, and it's like, I kind of want to fix that before I like bring all the people in. So
Totally.
very proud of it. There's some series up, there's some skills up. I just recorded a solo financial behind the scenes. It's like where I share how much money it's made. So I think that's gonna be a nice, like, I think people are really gonna like that kind of stuff. The project logs behind the scenes.
It's like, hey, can I actually do this myself?
Yeah,
that's the
totally
word. I love it.
Yeah, go check it out.
Good. We're having fun. I'm loving this.
Having fun.
All right. Y'all have a good. It's not a weekend. Y'all enjoy the rest of your work week. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Thank you, Aaron, for being here.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya, folks.
W.